Hello and welcome. You're watching The Reporter on NDTV Profit and I'm your host Pallavi Nahata. The final market session of the year 2023 has concluded and what an year it's been. Let's look at the action today. On Dalal Street, it was choppy. Volatile trade through the day. The Sensex and the Nifty extended losses as ICICI Bank, Infosys and Reliance Industries dragged. The Sensex and the Nifty managed to come off the day's lows in the second half of the session, but ended the day in the red. The Sensex closed about 2% lower at 72,240. The Nifty too closed about 2% lower in the red at 21,731. Meanwhile, the biggest winner today was Tata Motors. The stock zoomed on the back of news that India might swap 8 lakh diesel buses with electric buses. Tata Motors closed about 3.5% in the green at 780 rupees. Ashok Leyland surged as well on the same news today by about 4% to close the day and 100 at 81 rupees. Meanwhile, ICICI Bank fell by almost 1% and closed the day at 996 rupees. Infosys was down by about 1% and closed the day at 1,543 rupees. Let's take a look at markets this year. Now, both the Sensex and the Nifty ended the year surging by 20%. The Nifty logged positive returns for the 8th straight year. In fact, 2023 has been the 4th best year for the Nifty in the past decade. The mid-caps and the small caps have had the best run in history this year. The Nifty mid-cap 150 gained over 40%, while the Nifty small cap 250 gained close to 50%. Next, the Nifty 50 stocks added over 28 lakh crore rupees in market cap this year. The Nifty mid-cap and small-cap stocks together added an equal amount of market cap. Sector-wise, Nifty Realty has really climbed the ladder this year. It's seen a huge surge of 81%. Nifty Auto is next in line. It's up 47%, while Nifty Pharma is up 32%. Next, top stocks this year, Tata Motors and Bajaj Auto, they're the stars of the year among the Nifty 50. REC and PFC were the top gainers in the mid-cap 150 index, while the BSE was the top gainer in the Nifty small-cap 250 index. Now, let's delve deeper into the headline makers. After deciding to cut margins amid low demand, FMCG giant HUL is facing some irritation from distributors who have warned about halting purchase from the company. We have with us Sesha, who's joining us with more on this. Hi, Sesha. What have you been picking up on this? What's happening?
Right. So what we are getting to hear from the distributors community is that HUL has cut fixed margin from 3.9% to 3.3% and increased the variable one, which is based on performance from 0.7% to 2% for its general trade distributors. Now, HUL's decision comes at a time when the fast-moving consumer goods industry overall is struggling with declining volume growth. The move is basically seen as part of their strategy to increase the general trade distribution, especially in the rural areas, and optimize costs in this challenging phase. Now, the distributors, the Apex distributors body, they say that this particular shift in management strategy may jeopardize the entire distribution network. They have even drawn parallels to one of the past incident with Mondelez, when Mondelez had, asked Metro Cash and Carry as well as the distributors to procure goods at a lower margin. It was then that the distributors had actually halted business. So they are planning to do something similar with HUL. They have urged HUL to reconsider and maintain 5% base margin while offering incentives separately. We are yet to hear from HUL on this. They are on a silent period, so we'll have to wait and watch and see. We will keep tracking the space.
Thanks a lot, Sesha. Well, concerns over weaker demand are now clearly spilling over. Meanwhile, as 2023 comes to a close, it's been a phenomenal year for the power sector, with the renewable energy sector in particular being in focus. We have with us Vikas Srivastava, who's joining us with a wrap of all things power sector in 2023.
Yeah, right, Pallavi. So 23 had been an incredible year for power sector, especially if we look at the demand. Power demand has grown almost 9% up till November. As far as peak power demand was concerned, it touched all-time high of 240 gigawatts in September. And as far as renewable tendering is concerned, government has tendered close to 91 gigawatt of renewable projects. But that doesn't mean there aren't challenges within the sector. The sector has been facing challenges, especially in the renewables, because of ALMM postponement. A lot of execution works got delayed, so execution hasn't picked up the way it should have. And also, renewable being an intermittent power, so it also requires a lot of additional allocation of these projects, power projects. But that allocation hasn't happened the way tendering has happened. As compared to 91 gigawatt in tendering, the allocation has happened only 13 gigawatt. So that needs to pick up. And to remove intermittency, there needs to be a lot of hybrid as well as storage projects that need to be tendered out. Government has tendered almost 13 gigawatt of renewable projects, but as far as storage is concerned, the allocation has been only around 6 gigawatt. So that also is facing a lot of execution challenges because of raw material prices. So what the experts that we spoke to have said is that government in the meanwhile also can look at around 25 gigawatt of gas-based power projects that can be revived, which are lying idle because of lack of supply of gas in the market. And also government had initially worked on this retrofitting the coal-based power projects into flexible assets. So all those old projects that can be retrofitted, that basically are caught up in technical and financial issues. So where estimates say that they need around 4 lakh to 8 lakh rupees in terms of retrofitting per megawatt of these projects. So that's slightly on the higher side, and what's catching them or kind of restraining these projects to take off. So if these things are taken care of, 2024 can really be a good year for power sector.
All right. Thanks a lot for that. Let's slip into a short break. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching The Reporter on NDTV Profit. Now, amidst a hiring slowdown in India's IT sector, multinationals are actually set to outpace top-tier tech firms in recruiting talent. This is according to a TeamLease report. Global Capability Centers, or GCCs, are likely to create about 3.5 lakh jobs by FY25. Tushar Deep Singh joins us with more. Hi, Tushar. What does the report have to say?
Thank you, Pallavi. But before we get into the GCCs, let's first talk about the IT pain that has been so far into 2023. 2023 was largely a forgettable year for IT companies. That's reflecting in their employee base as well. Net hiring was also going to be muted for the next 2 quarters as well. Outsourcers have skipped campus hiring this year as well, and there was a first since 2008. IT sector headcount has dwindled the most in 5 years in the second quarter, that is July to September of FY24. So where do GCCs actually fit in? So like what you mentioned, Pallavi, they are going to create about 3.6 lakh jobs by fiscal 2025. That's by about March 2024. Essentially, they will add about 40 to 50,000 workers in the second quarter, that's July-September, as well as January and March, that's seasonally the strong quarters for as far as hiring is concerned. That's when IT companies are actually not hiring across the board. So 30% of the GCCs are also poised for substantial talent absorption. The number of GCCs are also going to rise from 1,580 at this moment to about 2,500 by 2028, which means the runway itself is also looking very good for GCCs among the pains that the IT sector is facing right now. So in terms of numbers, absolute numbers, GCCs will have about 1.68 million employees at this point of time. In the long run, they're looking at about 3.5 million employees by 2025. So clearly, India is becoming a profit center for GCCs. India is becoming a profit center for multinationals who have set up shop here from a cost center. Pallavi.
Thanks a lot for that, Tushar. Well, it's indeed been a painful year, especially for those in Indian engineering colleges. But as Tushar mentions, some of the slack by the IT segment or the non-hiring in the IT segment is being picked up by GCCs. Moving on, sales of passenger vehicles has fallen in December over the previous month in both two-wheeler and the four-wheeler segments. Sales of commercial vehicles are going strong. My colleague Vinay joins in with more details. Hi, Vinay.
Thank you, Pallavi. So December is usually a forgettable month for passenger vehicle industry because consumers are not looking to buy vehicles as much because it becomes an older model just in a month. So a slowdown in demand post-festive season as well is impacting the sales, while higher inventory at dealerships are limiting the wholesales from the OEMs to the dealerships. And the dismal state of the entry-level cars are also impacting the overall sales of the industry. So Nomura has said that while it expects 6% sales growth in FY25, but it is coming with the downside risks. Coming to the two-wheelers, the December remains strong with the industry, and it is strengthening the expectations of a recovery in the rural markets because the northern and the western regions are doing better, or the eastern region is doing better. The analysts expect that the Hero MotoCorp might accelerate its market share gains over the other OEMs. Coming to the CV demand, it continues to be driven by the infrastructure development, and medium and heavy commercial vehicle sales are leading the overall volume growth. In the tractor segment, the inquiry trend suggests that the tractor demand might be improving, but the previous weak months may lead to more weak months in the coming year before it improves, the sales improve at the dealership level.
Thanks a lot for that. Now, the Prime Minister will visit Ayodhya on Saturday to lay the foundation stone for and to dedicate projects worth 11,100 crore rupees to the nation. The Ayodhya airport will be inaugurated by him. He will also open the Ayodhya Dham Junction railway station. Late in January, he's also set to conduct the opening ceremony for the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. NDTV's Tanishq Punjabi has all the details of the Prime Minister's schedule.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit Ayodhya tomorrow and is going to hold a massive roadshow along with the inauguration of the new international airport and the new railway station here in Ayodhya. He's also going to flag off 2 Amrit Bharat trains and 6 Vande Bharat trains from the new railway station in Ayodhya, which has just been renamed as Ayodhya Dham railway station. Apart from that, he's going to hold a massive roadshow of around 15 kilometers long that will be going from the national highway right to the Ram Janam Bhoomi as well. If we talk about the development projects will be foundation stone will be laid for development projects not just of Ayodhya but also of Uttar Pradesh. For Ayodhya, development projects worth rupees 11,000 crores, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be laying foundation stone of. If we talk about the new railway station, the new railway station has around 3 stories, ground plus 2, and is built on at a cost of 440 crores. And the new railway station, new airport that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating will be operational from 5th of January. And this, of course, comes all before the 22nd January grand consecration of the Ram Mandir temple in Ayodhya.
Well, we'll continue to bring to you the latest on what's happening in Ayodhya. Moving on, about a week ago, over 200 children with different disabilities participated in an inclusive sports event in Delhi. Running, playing blind cricket, and the big highlight, wheelchair frisbee. That brings us to the question, how many sports facilities in India actually cater to those with disabilities? As a part of Samarth by Hyundai, we take a look at how important playgrounds are for children and why we need more such inclusive events and safe spaces.
Ready to run in the winter sun. A 100-meter race and a playing field that welcomes all. This sports field is buzzing with children excited about this inclusive sports festival organized by Umoya Sports in collaboration with Modern School Barakhamba in New Delhi. This one-day event called Agaz saw more than 200 children from 15 schools participate in track events, blind cricket and wheelchair frisbee.
How many of us are actually seeing children with disabilities in our playgrounds? We have partnered with Modern School to create Sportability, which is a safe space which creates like a platform, a voice for individuals with disabilities where they can come, experience sports not just recreationally, but also competitively. So we have children over here with different disabilities.
Sportability is not just about this one-day event. In May last year, Modern School made its sports facilities, its courts and grounds available for people with disabilities to come and play on. What started as a small program has now grown to almost 100 people who make use of the premises.
Schools are dotted across neighborhoods, across the entire country. Every school can do this if they just allow their space to be utilized out of school hours. Then people come to Modern School from far-flung neighborhoods and including from Ghaziabad and from Noida. They don't have to travel that distance. It costs them a lot of money with their wheelchairs and their equipment, etc. Or they can go to just their neighborhood school if the school allowed them to come and play.
It isn't just children. Shiv Kumar regularly comes here to play blind cricket all the way from Mukherjee Nagar in North Delhi. Like Shiv Kumar, many sports enthusiasts find this a safe space to exercise their desire to play.
काफ़ी और यहाँ पर सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है कि यहाँ पर हमें कोई रोकता नहीं, मतलब कि नेट पे अगर क्रिकेट सपोज खेलते हैं व्हीलचेयर क्रिकेट, तो वो ये नहीं बोलते कि पिच ख़राब हो जाएगी। अगर हम कहीं किसी ग्राउंड में जाते हैं तो वहाँ पर नहीं खेलने देते, वो ज़्यादातर बोल देते हैं कि पिच ख़राब हो जाएगी, वो व्हील्स के वो लगेंगे। तो इसी तरह हम यहाँ पर खेलने आते हैं।
If my child wants to go for swimming, why should my child be stopped for swimming? Because she's a special needs child? Why can't you keep a trainer for a special needs child? So things like that, or a playground. Why should it be just specific for only special needs, and why can't the special needs children sort of combine, come together with, other kids, and sort of feel that they're a part of the society?
Inclusive playgrounds and playing facilities are still the exception, rather than the norm in India, making them more common and widespread and available for people with disabilities does not need a special design. It only needs acceptance and space.
That's all we have for you today on The Reporter. For more fresh news and updates, stay tuned to NDTV Profit. 543 rupees. Let's take a look at markets this year. Now, both the Sensex and the Nifty ended the year surging by 20%. The Nifty logged positive returns for the 8th straight year. In fact, 2023 has been the 4th best year for the Nifty in the
So मतलब कंटिन्यूस है या there'll be a break no? हाँ ठीक है हाँ 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 Moving on, the SEBI has proposed a new approach to verify rumors in the stock market. Instead of waiting for media reports, the market regulator proposes verifying rumors within 24 hours of a significant price change, focusing on material price changes. We have Charu who joins us to tell us more about this. Over to you, Charu. The India-Australia Economic and Trade Cooperation Agreement completed its first year today. My colleague Janani spoke to Additional Secretary of the Commerce Ministry and begins by asking about the commodities whose exports have seen a rise after signing the trade agreement. Listen in.
I think India sector has been doing very well for the Indian businesses. We have been seeing an upswing in more than 15% of exports from India this year. On preferential lines, it's been more than 17%, showing that these lines are working well. I think we are doing well in all the sectors, 16 odd sectors out of 22 where Indian businesses are doing well there, whether it's auto components where we are growing like by 32% this year, or whether it's even in other sectors like textiles. Also in some of the areas we are growing this year, which has not been the case. We are growing by 7% this year in exports. As with regards to, if you look in the context of our overall export to the world, I think we are doing much better in Australia, indicating that ECTA is working good for Indian businesses.
We were privy to some extensive and exhaustive research, in fact, and analysis that, in fact, even in electronic goods and RMG textiles, there has been significant growth. What are some other commodities you think India could do better, following this review, that you think we could also ramp up further?
I think one is engineering goods, where we got around 5% duty advantage under ECTA. That is one area which again is growing well this year. This has been doing well. The early signs are that we have grown the first 7 months. I think we have grown by around 7%, and we hope in the remaining 5 also we'll do well, and we'll keep on building upon this to see that the FTAs, the unique advantages of FTAs is actually leveraged by the Indian businesses.
So before I let you go, one last question on, at the same time right now we have the SEPA, the India-Australia SEPA that is ongoing. How is it distinguishing from the ECTA, and when can we hope to hear the next update on SEPA?
I think the SECA is about negotiating the remaining elements of the agreement, which we couldn't do in the early harvest, the ECTA agreement. So some of those elements, like working on the detailed product-specific rules for all the tariff lines wherein we have given concessions, that was the work that was left, which is being done under SECA. We are also trying to explore new areas of cooperation under SECA, and when it will come through, and once we are ready to finalize, announce, you will come to know there are multiple areas we are negotiating and trying to work on cooperation, which have not been done so far in many of the FTAs.